Folks, thanks for joining us today. My name's John Dubas with Premier Marketing, and we'll be spending the next 45 minutes or so discussing an avenue to pursue in order to place yourself in front of enough people to talk to that may be interested in the products that you're offering. A key component in a marketing system that is tried and true, and that's prospecting with direct mail. Today's presentation is being recorded, and a PDF of the presentation and a link to the recording will be sent to all who have RSVP to today's webinar. In the software system, you'll note that there is a box for both questions and for chat. If you would, please place your questions in the question box. Might seem logical, but we'll make certain that we address them. Many times a question is handled through the course of the presentation, so we'll check at the end as well to make certain that we get you the information you need. There may be additional attachments in the email sent to you with the follow-up to today's presentation that address specifics. So be aware of that, and sometimes when you do that on a blind copy basis, it goes into your spam filter, so watch for that if you would, please. As a bit of a level set, let's start with a little information about who Premier Marketing is. We're a national marketing organization founded in 1968. That's part of the Integrity Marketing Platform. We have offices across the country, and we act as an insurance wholesaler providing insurance services to the public through independent insurance agents. Those agents have access to contracts at the highest possible commission levels, and there are recruiting contracts available to those who qualify. As I mentioned, being founded in 1968, using math, that tells us, hey, recently we celebrated a milestone in our history, 50th anniversary, which we feel is quite an accomplishment, and we thank our contracted agents for that accomplishment because we started as a small family agency in rural Nebraska, and we've grown into one of the largest marketing organizations in the insurance world. And that is due to the productivity of the agents with whom we partner. We do so through a full insurance portfolio that offers Medicare programs, the Medicare Advantage, prescription drug, and Medicare Supplement programs. But we also offer a full portfolio of life insurance and annuity products, including final expense life insurance and pre-need plans, long and short-term care programs, disability income, and ancillary benefits such as dental, vision, hearing, critical illness, cancer, and hospital indemnity programs. The Medicare Advantage portfolio is one that includes the national carriers and many of the strong regional carriers in your market, and that includes the same philosophy being applied to the prescription drug portfolio, where those national carriers are available to you through our organization. Our Medicare Supplement portfolio is very large and offers unique support systems in order for you to be successful in that space as well. And we then look into the ancillary world, where in each of the categories we have the big players available to you, and they offer you not only an additional means of taking care of the needs of your prospects and clients, but a way of increasing your persistency by having additional policies in the house, and of course, creating additional revenue streams for you and your agency. When we look at the Medicare market, and for many people, this is a market they concentrate on. You don't come on a presentation today without hearing of the aging of the baby boomers, the silver tsunami, 10,000 people turn 65 every month, one every 10 seconds. It's all true, but if you're looking at the Medicare market just by age, it's not a true indicator of what's really going on, because there's a portion of folks that will turn 65 and not access their Medicare benefits right away for one reason or another, about 10 to 12% of the population. But there's also 1/6 of the people, nearly 1/6 of the folks that are on Medicare that are under the age of 65 and are accessing their Medicare benefits because of medical disability. It can be a key component to our success in this space, particularly when we look to focus our direct mail marketing efforts on a population that may not be marketed as heavily to, because it is a little harder to reach, but a campaign that takes into account the entire population on Medicare can be very helpful for us because overall, they've got some similar challenges. 2/3 of them have 3+ chronic conditions, and half of them or more have some challenges with their wallet as well, where their income is, well, a later presentation of this, or the income level at 26.2 now, a couple years after this one. But you're seeing a good portion of the population that has limited income and savings and have need of programs that can help them budget for the inevitable. And so we want to make certain that we're able to take care of these folks, whatever their choices are or that they've made as they come into Medicare, because they have choices right off the bat. They don't have to take the Part B. It's optional. Most do. Some will then pick up the Part D programs for their medications. Some won't, for one reason or another. Some may cover the base medical with a traditional, standardized, modernized Medigap policy, a Medicare Supplement program, or go the route with the Part C programs and Medicare Advantage plans to take care of some of the shortfalls in their overall protection. In each of these circumstances, we have opportunities to reach out uniquely through direct mail. Some have more oversight than others. When we speak to Medicare Advantage and Part D programs, Premier uses preferred lead vendors and certain communications because they have different regulations placed upon them than perhaps the Medicare Supplement programs. So how we approach the population, how we're looking at it as a general overall market or a subset will influence the choices we have in our marketing methods, including and specifically in direct mail. Because as people come in to Medicare, regardless if it's immediately upon 65 or if they're late to Medicare seniors, those sorts of individuals, you're looking at people making choices kind of evenly on the base medical, where 41% are looking at Medicare Advantage, 43% at Med Sup, and 17% not making one of those choices. I phrase it that way because the original Medicare itself may be a bit of a misnomer because they might have retiree coverage or coverage through their service to the country or through a particular company with retiree coverage, or they may choose to do nothing, obviously. But there are then different things we need to look at to make certain that we're able to appeal to as broad of a spectrum of population that we can in order to make this come about. Varied population, so we have a lot of choices. We're fortunate to work hand in hand with a number of preferred vendors that look across the board and can vary their approach as well and deliver services to you. And because we are dealing with the Medicare world, there is an acronym translator that will include as part of the follow-up to today's presentation. Since we're in a kind of a unique situation here with the COVID-19 and many people going remotely marketing or being released to go back, and now today in Texas they announced they're closing things kind of back down now because of spikes in activity. But when you look at the overall opportunity, all that is a change as to how we handle some responses or obligations to our prospects and our clients. As Henry Ford said, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. How does that apply here, John? Well, many of us are used to sitting across the kitchen table and doing some things manually, a presentation face-to-face, or even a paper application. Many of us have progressed from the presentation being face-to-face, but handling the application process electronically. But there's a number of folks that have adjusted to or had already been doing a lot of the outreach electronically or telephonically, and then handling the back end as they need to accommodate the enrollment of individuals. So what we're looking for is a system that will accommodate each of those approaches, however we're going to do it, and then we're going to have to adjust as to how we can handle the folks that need our help. And so we're kind of going to proceed today a little more lighthearted than in some of our other webinars, just to make certain that we might bring about a point in a different fashion, but in light of the current environment. So as we talk about how we prospect with direct mail, it's important to note that unless you are a gambler and you know I'm going to put it on red or I'm going to put it on black and you're going for everything all with one roll of the dice or spin of the wheel or whatever. I'm not much of a gambler, so I'm pushing that analogy. It's important to note that in the real world and as we market, we don't put all our eggs in one basket necessarily, and we include different programs in conjunction with other activity to create an overall more comprehensive plan, a way of reaching out and being more effective. Because you put all your eggs in one basket, well, that doesn't always work. And we got to realize too that in certain circumstances, some people will respond to one type of outreach and not another. So if we vary our outreach, we're going to also kind of hedge our bet to a degree and have a greater opportunity to reach people. Plus, if they're seeing us reaching out to them through different mediums, they may then create a brand recognition and we can drive up some responses. So if you look at an overall type of approach to individuals, we look at cold calls, we look at community marketing, we try to work with the carriers with programs they have in play, look at the community we're serving. If we have a target market, how do we saturate that area and become the subject matter expert? Some programs do still allow face-to-face door knocking. A little strange in this time period, but that's the way it works. Social media is the big wow now, and then there's direct mail. So you've got a number of ways to reach out to people. It's then how do we do it efficiently and hedge our bets, so to speak. There are folks out there that will say direct mail is dead. Well, to paraphrase Mark Twain, the reports of the death of direct mail has been greatly exaggerated. Folks that have a system in place, have a plan worked out in any type of marketing circumstance, and look at it not just as a one-trick pony, but on a consistent basis, they see different results than people who handle the approach differently. So we need to look at different options and see, do we stay on the same track? Do we vary an option within one of those subsets that we just talked about? Or how do we make certain that we have enough people to talk to in order to be as successful as we've goaled ourselves? Direct mail has been consistent in those in those objectives, I should say. So combining it with other means of outreach or varying the response within it itself is very helpful, because it's important to note social media doesn't fix everything. It's interesting to watch things on Facebook, as I'm probably more set in that demographic of a participant, where you'll see outreach from the National Council on Aging offering a benefits checkup, and you go in the comments and you go, holy cow, there's a lot of folks that just don't trust people anymore. And then, of course, there are a lot of folks that think they shouldn't have to go through different processes to get help, or one type of approach turns them off versus another. And because some of the response can be so immediate and anonymous in social media, sometimes you gotta hedge that bet and make certain that we're looking at alternatives as well. The United States Postal Service takes the beating, and it appears that the mailbox in front of my house and the P.O. box I keep at a post office down the street is most used by people like you and me soliciting business. There are some things that are still mailed. I got to tell you, the value of a handwritten thank you note to an individual, since it is somewhat unusual now, so much easier. I'll just dash them an email. A little different response from an email versus a little note you get in the mail. There is precedent of not only the size of the outreach that you can do with direct mail, but also the uniqueness of some of the response that comes with it. Postal Service is really feeling the effects of the COVID-19 situation as well, but they're a mainstay within the communication network in our country, and it'll continue. Some of the reasons why it's still a marketing tool, 8 of 10 people still review their mail daily. A lot of folks that are confined to their home, they're looking for anything as a distraction as well, and so they're going through their mail right now, probably more thoroughly than even this number. You'll see also that 78% of the people prefer receiving mail over other marketing methods. It gives them a chance to study, and as much as we are a internet society, not everybody accesses the internet the same way, and not everyone has the same access either. So you have something hard and firm and in the hand of the individual, and they can read what the offer is without making certain that their ISP is secure or whatever else it has to be, and you got a difference there. And you also see that half the people say they actually enjoy reviewing mail. I like reading communications from my family. There are certain business communications I receive in the mail that I'm very, very much still reviewing. And many of the communications that I get that may actually come to me electronically as well, still come to me in a magazine. I like reading that and having it to refer to. And many people feel they share that response as well. You'll also see that 50% of the population in the survey responded to a direct mail offer within the last 6 months. So those people obviously respond to outreach, and the ones that responded to the poll, half of them, hey, yeah, I responded to direct mail, and so it is still working. And almost all, 94% of the folks that responded took action because of that direct mail as well. As insurance agents, as we approach open enrollment or through the rest of the year where folks may have a reason to examine their coverages, you'll find that they respond. It may not be an absolute sale, but part of our big push in this area is to get in front of people and start a conversation. Because sometimes the sales that result as the result of a direct mail campaign may not actually be the topic that was covered in the direct mail piece. And of course, since this system's been around for a long time, it's battle tested. You've got percentages that are out there, and you'll see the percentages of return on direct mail vary according to the type of letter that's going out, the product type, how specific you're asking for information, things of that nature, what you're promising in the mail. You'll find that you're going to get the response, and if we do it consistently, it's a real key component in a marketing program. It's also interesting to note that many of the direct mail programs now combine different ways of response. We've been accustomed to the mail back response. Yes, I'm interested. I'm raising my hand. Or if you're interested, dial this number. You know, those are some of the traditional means of responding. But you'll also see some mail pieces now that come out with a QR code, a quick response code. And it combines the old standard snail mail, in a manner of speaking, with a way of responding much more quickly electronically using tools they may have. It's a hedging of the bet within the response as well. But keep in mind, this may be available to some individuals, may not. But they're looking to make certain that they can gather in as large of a response as possible. This gives us a real-time response. It helps us really tailor the marketing and the solution to the challenge that we're addressing, and can also be tied into our social media campaign. So we're looking to combine technology with proven methods to maximize results as well. One of the things that comes about for us too is, hey, I've got a specific need in my market. I know exactly what I want to do. I'm going to write the letter. I'm going to personalize my outreach. You can do that, obviously, but one of the things that you'll see is the catalogs of letters that are available through the different mail houses are driven from their response as well. They watch how those letters are printed, the font size, everything else that goes into it, and they tweak it as time goes by. And so a lot of it's a question of deferring to the experts. And because in our circumstance, we work with a ton of different vendors. Our preferred vendors, however, have catalogs established especially for us, so they know the common needs that we've seen on a regular basis, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel. It also really speeds up the process and helps us stay much more compliant. Some of the things then that we have to also consider is, are we looking at a general approach, or are we looking to narrow it down to a product type, or are we more specifically looking to brand it with a particular carrier's message? And if we do so, we have to consider in those circumstances then the general response difference that we can see in a generic versus a branded mailer, and by using a brand on some mail periodically, it gives us a chance to perhaps access funding or co-op assistance through our upline and the carrier that's involved. So you look at the circumstance and you try to take into account what's my purpose and how am I going to fund this, and then what can I expect as a return. Many of the vendors that are out there also offer a CRM to help manage the response of your marketing efforts. Many of them actually allow you to import additional information into that system to use it as a CRM. Many agents, so I mean, you still have a file system. There are folks that still use a card file. There are folks that use Excel lists. There are improvements available to that, obviously, that are available to you. And working with the folks that we deal with all the time, they actually provide a CRM for those responses to help you not only track the response, but work it more effectively and efficiently. Because, hey, just because you get a 4% response, if you didn't do anything with it, it's not going to automatically help with growing your business. And we want to make certain that the outreach we make is compliant, it draws the response, and we're able to address that response as well. One of the things one of our programs do in the final expense arena is they give you some idea on how much outreach you have to make, what kind of investment is involved to gather the response that we need to make the numbers that we want on the back end when it comes to revenue. This uses some fairly conservative amounts of numbers, so it's not completely out of whack. You'll look at some of those numbers and you go, holy cow, that much money? Well, it's still based off of a 1% return, which is about par for final expense outreach, and then how we handle the progression of those leads through a sales process. So it gives us an idea to how we can help plan as well. What we do at Premier is we do help with the cost of a mailer. It's based in our Medicare world on production and deeply discounts the cost of that initiative. It gives you then the opportunity to do things consistently, because as we will see in a little bit, as I get a little more funky with this presentation, that's what it takes. These are our approved lead vendors that we have in the Medicare world. There's an additional program with different qualifications, many of the same lead vendors, a little difference, but these are the folks that we deal with that set up systems to help deliver that mail at the discounted rate, should you qualify for it, and within a set of letters for specific topics and outreach that are vetted by our organization to help protect you on the back end. When you look at Power Mail, you can go to their website and you'll look at different options that they have for direct mail pieces. You'll see that they offer a free lead management system as part of working with them as well, as does Target Leads, same sort of circumstance. You look at Lead Concepts and you'll see that as well with different programs that come into play. And you'll note that with this particular vendor, with Lead Concepts, they're having a really good success story with DSNP leads at this time, where the response rates, okay, 4 to 6%, who are you kidding, John? If you get 2%, you're going to do well on a direct mail. Well, once I said again, it depends on the topic, the audience, and the letter and what's going out in that correspondence. Because DSNP also tends to draw more oversight, we're really careful about some of the wording that goes into this play and how it works. But I have personal testimonials from agents that will say, hey, I actually got 8% on mine because here's where I went. Where you send the letter can make a difference too. In Dallas, Fort Worth, if you're working Park Cities, University Park, it's a lot different response on a DSNP letter going into that Tony neighborhood than going down to Fair Park, where the demographic is different. So different things can influence it. There are systems that Lead Concepts have set up for us as well to deal with separate categories, as all these folks do. So you're looking at a way of reaching out for a specific topic. This can make a difference to you. Kramer Direct has that same sort of circumstance available to you where the lists are available through them, embedded with us, as is with ARM. And as I mentioned, there's a different program for final expense with different qualifications and different support levels as well. So you have an opportunity within our organization to qualify for direct mail support in 2 specific programs here alone, with product that is normally targeted to the senior population, Medicare population overall even. So it gives us then an opportunity of getting as much support as possible for a direct mail campaign as well. Here are the vendors for the final expense folks, an additional one in there. But we also have come up with an additional means of per response through direct mail as well. These are unworked direct mail leads that come to you from another vendor that give you specific responses, much like if they're mailing back a letter to you, but instead of paying for the entire campaign and looking for varying response, you got a set cost per response through this particular program. So part of what we do then is we look at those different vendors that we have, the letters that are available, and we start to set up a program to consistently work this section of our marketing program. If we're active in multiple areas, use the full portfolio that's available to you. If you specialize in Medicare programs only, well, in that particular circumstance, as you reach out to individuals consistently, perhaps repeating the letter for a certain number of times or varying the type of letter depending upon the season can make a big difference to you as to not only who returns that letter, but the type of individual that returns that letter. Are they a Lucy-Lou kicking tires, or are they actually, hey, I'm in the market, I have this need? So it gives us an opportunity to vary, once again, or concentrate. So one of the big things that we need to do is set up that program from whatever point in time for basically on a year's basis, a rolling year, and look at the topics we're going to commit to and the timetable that we're going to do that sort of outreach. So there are many folks now that, hey, I'm looking at AEP and it's not even July. Well, we're pretty close to it. We're about a week away. Getting those letters in, however, the responses or requests in earlier can help you guarantee you reach the people you want to, because many of the mail houses will actually only mail a prospect with a certain type of letter and then freeze it for other individuals from that individual. Doesn't mean they can't mail them other type of letters, but it's locking in a part of your outreach market, your target market, and being prepared to do that ahead of time makes a big difference. Otherwise, you may have to expand the geography involved or some of the other demographics that you're using for that particular letter and outreach. Part of what we want to consider as well is if we're able to market to a single individual multiple programs, obviously it drives down our acquisition cost because we're dealing with our own book of business, but it's also going to help us with customer retention, that persistency, that stickiness of those individuals. We do a well-rounded approach, or once we're in a household, we do whatever we need to visit with them about other product as well, compliantly. It's going to drive up our overall retention, and so our renewals grow and give us that assurance that, hey, these folks are going to stay with me. I'm going to be able to drive for new business, and keep in mind I'm keeping my book in place because I've got products in the household that helps me do that. So, as I mentioned, our first step is planning. What are we going to use as a target market? What product? How often? How much money are we going to spend? And then getting the detail from the folks to plug into those different topics. If I work with this mail house, do you have enough people in my target market with this product to do this consistently? They'll obviously allow you to mail the same individuals and not freeze them for that 3 or 6 month exclusivity period that organization may have. So it gives you an advantage in that circumstance as well. And then, of course, how much money do you want to spend? You got to invest in yourself, obviously. Sometimes, however, people, well, scratch the sometimes, budgets vary. So how do we do this, and how do we keep doing it consistently and put it in play? Because that's the second step, executing. Opta non verba, a little bit of Latin for deeds, not words. John Wayne, we're burning daylight, and the Cowboys. We got to put it in play. And, of course, because a plan without execution is just a wish list. And then we want to make certain that we're doing so consistently with persistency. Because without the persistency portion of it, it's like an exercise program. You're going to feel the pain. You don't necessarily see the results that you're looking for. So as we do it with consistency, it creates a brand in the outreach that we're doing it to, if we're doing it consistently to a particular market. But it's going to give us the return, particularly kind of like investing, to make certain that if it stocks low or high, we're still going to have responses back, the gains we want to see by simply following a plan consistently, and we have those people to speak to on a regular basis. So some of what we'll do is we will make certain that we work with you on your plans, or you can reach out to the mail houses and get the catalogs of letters through them as well, or go on their website and then plan that, work that program, and make it consistent. Also, one of the things that's really important for us to do then is make certain that as we write the verbal check to the prospect who's replying back to our direct mail campaign, do we have what we need to accommodate their requests? So one of the things that we'll do is we set up an electronic contracting system that allows you to create an agent profile, has your data in there, allows you to contract with multiple carriers electronically without filling out a whole bunch of paper contracts. Keep in mind, not all companies do it, and sometimes you'll want to use their electronic system as well. But this allows you then to make certain that you have the programs that the people you're talking to are asking for. It's important to note, in many of the circumstances with some of the general products, it's pretty simple for us to accommodate their request through a contract, particularly in ancillary world, Medicare Advantage and PDP. You got certification and other things that come into play, but we want to make certain that when you get the response back from someone, do you have what they're asking for? And if so, this is a way to make certain that we do. We also want to make certain that we protect your business. And many of the carriers now, the vast majority of them, require that you have errors and omissions coverage in order to contract with them. We want to do it to protect ourselves anyway, our own bit of malpractice insurance. But we offer a program that allows you to do so, and it's a program you own. So regardless with whom you contract, you have that protection. So you got a lot of choices with marketing organizations out there now. We realize that. We want to make certain you're protected across the board. This even gives protection in some of the variable products that those policies are getting pretty hefty and hard to find now. This gives you the opportunity to protect you and your agency regardless of whom you're contracting through. So you have that, and it's yours to use. It says to contract or to qualified agents. What qualifies? Yeah, well, you got a contract with us. So we also help you protect your license in maintaining your continuing education credits. We have a relationship with WebCE that allows you to do so on a discounted basis to make certain that your license stays in play as well. And as an independent agent, since you create and maintain your own benefit package, we have a program that allows you access to disability income protection on a modified guarantee issue basis with discounted rates. You share in the commission. So you're protecting your own income stream through this program as an independent agent. Much as where today's presentation is being recorded, we do that with just about every one of our presentations, and we keep a library available to you, either available on our website or on our YouTube channel as well. So this includes not only different marketing techniques that you can use direct mail in conjunction with. Hey, I'm working with a doctor. Well, let's consider a mail campaign in a serviceable area around that provider. Or I'm doing an event here, or I'm participating in retail. You can use direct mail to support any of those. And then these particular educational opportunities also give you an opportunity to figure out how you can coordinate some of that activity and maximize your success. We also help you with a means of electronic applications as well to handle the response. And in many circumstances, we're seeing a variance as to how we can actually address individuals. Depending upon where you are, you may not be able to visit someone face-to-face, or is it appropriate for you to do so? Having a means of reaching out, delivering the information that's required on a compliance basis for material they have to be provided, how we present, and then how we enroll them, all need to be part of your system. It's going to be part of the new normal moving forward, from now. So it's important for us to realize that, okay, we got to be able to contract electronically to do some things fast. We also need to be able to present electronically and then enroll them to do things efficiently. The system we have in play for Medicare Supplements and Ancillary Products is a contract through the CSG program. It gives you the opportunity to not only look at the Medicare world, but also some of the ancillary programs and take care of the compliance that is necessary to talk to people about certain Medicare products. So if you're out there using that DSNP letter that purports a 4 to 6% return, how am I going to be able to enroll them if I can't see them face to face? Yeah, as importantly, how do I outreach them initially, stay compliant, and do it all electronically? This allows you not only to collect your scope of appointment, but also store it for that 10-year period that's required of you as well. It also has some tweaks within the system that actually help you use the system itself to cross-sell. We have a separate presentation on that we'll make certain the link comes to you as part of the follow-up as well to use this system particularly in the Medicare Supplement and Ancillary world. Comparisons on the Medicare Advantage or PDP programs are available through our Medicare Center program. Both of these systems are available without cost to our contracted agents. They give you an avenue to do things virtually, and it can really help you be consistent not only with your effort, but improve your overall processes, make you become more time efficient, and handle the responses well because they may be you've included them in one system or another. This is a really neat system that allows you with the Medicare Advantage or PDP programs to maintain that profile of your clients in there so you can do annual reviews really easily, drive up your persistency and retention there, use it as a bit of a CRM as well. Because these different programs do allow different types of compensation, we've gathered that information on our website and placed it in one place to make certain you're aware of the full compensation you receive in sales in different areas. Keep in mind, Medicare Advantage and prescription drug programs, their compensation maximums are set by the government. Most of the programs you see coming out with those, they're giving you the max on the commissions. However, they don't qualify for additional incentives or trips in many cases, where some of the MedSup or other programs do. So that may be an influencer in the choice as the type of the markets that you're pursuing. Not just the type of response you get, the type of business you get out of it, but also the overall cost. We're not greedy Gus's necessarily, but we've also got to maintain a business sense as to how we can drive revenue and other perhaps additional compensation that allow us to market effectively. It's important in the areas where you can qualify for trips or incentives based on different products. Those flow through our organization. They also help you qualify for our programs as well, which this year was going to be a cruise from Miami to the Bahamas. COVID-19 kind of put a kibosh on that as it is. We're going to continue with those programs as it is anyway. We also help you reach out to individuals in conjunction many times with direct mail support or in lieu of or in addition to. As I mentioned, you may use direct mail to support other types of marketing initiatives. So let's look at some of the ways that we can basically coordinate that activity. If you're dealing with a product that allows you telephonic outreach, we can help you with contact lists for that at a low or no cost. We can also help you coordinate the different community-based marketing programs. Selection process in retail marketing is going on right now for Walmart. Anthem just announced some details on their programs. Other carriers that offer their own specific retail programs will have information available to you quickly. How can you coordinate that activity with a direct mail campaign using that retail location as a third office, whatever it happens to be? It's a great way of coordinating overall response, but also effectively marketing in that retail situation. We offer that same sort of guidance in the faith-based world, where centers of influence in the community that might reach a population that doesn't respond to radio advertisements, TV, direct mail, but they listen to what goes on in church or what's told to them through their faith-based organization. We have a program set up to help you with camps or with seminar selling, when allowed, in that type of atmosphere. We'll also help you with direct mail for providers. Many times in different markets, there will be provider marketing groups that might assist you in that activity as well, and that may well include direct mail support. Depends on that marketing organization for the provider. So you have some opportunities to coordinate in community activity with direct mail. And many times the carrier at different times of the year may have different prospects they help you with as well. What that does is indicate to you as well that there are people in certain areas that are responding to outreach. How'd that carrier get that lead? Well, they probably did a ton of mail and they might have got it that way. It might give you an area that may be a part of an altered focus in the future because you know prospects are coming back from it. We do also now offer different internet lead programs, Facebook programs we'll talk about in a second. And then, of course, we've talked about the direct mail support that comes to you through this system. So once again, you can coordinate with the use of mobile bell and the telephone, work through the different retail establishments, look at different faith-based organizations or different community centers of influence to help in that response, and have the sales presentations and different topics available to you. We've got them. We'll help you support in any of those areas. You also have then ways of working with the doctor. And I got to tell you, this is a great way to really make effective the mail campaign, because there are some things that a provider can do with their book of business, with their clients, with their patient profile, that can be done independent of your efforts, that with a little guidance on your part in order for them to do it compliantly, it can really drive your business. We've talked about getting leads from the carriers as well. But when you look at the internet, you have a way of accessing those type of responses and final expense in the Medicare world through a system we have set up for you. So the links to that information will come to you as part of the follow-up. That direct mail support in the Medicare and ancillary world really makes it an affordable type of opportunity. And then we look at this as an opportunity to also help earn your business. So as we do that discussion where we've identified our market and the product, and we're looking at the different letters, allow us to give you some data as to how people that are successful in that space are actually proceeding, or give you some hints and tips as to how to drive up your entire marketing campaign as it is. You think we're in the dog days of summer? Here in North Texas, we've been fortunate that we haven't had some of the extreme heat that we have sometimes, but it also gives us a timing realization. Sometimes in the fall, you hear that first cool breeze front come through and the leaves change. We realize, hey, Thanksgiving's coming. Or, boy, yeah, it's before Halloween and we hear Christmas music. That's telling us Christmas is coming up. Hot weather, it's telling us, boy, we're going to have next year's benefits in the Medicare Advantage and PDP world pretty darn quick. Some of them are out there now. How are we going to plan to take advantage of it? And how do we lock in our markets? So we've got to do this now. The time period for creating that plan and the profile to move forward, it's now. So we want to help you with that and earn that portion of your business. Because what you see sometimes is not always a result of a mirror image. We get some of the results that we get by doing a lot of hard work on the back end. And part of that, for many of us, that's actually planning, writing it down and committing to it and following through. So if you're looking at direct mail as a component, one of the things we want to do is make you aware of choices that you have in a particular market, share with you that information and that experience, put it into our marketing plan, move forward. But we've got to be able to commit to that first, move forward with it, and get those objectives underway. That said, you can get a lot of the information we're referencing today, and watch for the follow-up, because it's going to come to you as part of the email sent to you in response to this webinar. But you can reach us too at 1-800-365-8208 or through our website at premiersmi.com. You can respond to the outreach and the follow-up to the webinar as well. We'll make certain that we have folks reach out to you, gather details. Let's work with a plan, and let's see how we can get this underway. That said, we realize your most valuable asset is your time. You've invested 3/4 of an hour at least with us here today. We appreciate that investment. We thank you for that. But we look forward to the opportunity to visit with you as to how you can use direct mail and other programs that we offer to help drive your business. We look forward to that conversation. And until we're able to do so, we wish you good selling. Thanks so much. I'm going to check for the questions just in case. One of them in case. Oh, yeah, I'm careful about my and ahs. I do other types of probably silly things. One of the questions deals with the annuity arena. The challenges you have in that, the response on annuity outreach, are a lower response than you would see on a demand product like dental or some of the base medical coverage. But the leads you get back tend to be much more targeted and much more serious. We have recently kicked off an annuity resource center to help you market annuities. So thank you for that question. We'll make certain that we include information on marketing annuities as well. So watch for the information we send to you. It'll be coming to you as soon as we can get the recording uploaded on the systems and available to you. Once again, that's going to be available on our website or on YouTube, but you'll also get a link to it in response to today's outreach. Thank you for the time you spent with us today. We look forward to fruitful conversations in the near future. And in the meantime, once again, good selling. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you soon.